Hello, my name is Heather and welcome to the channel Bookables. Today I'm here to do another book talk video because I cannot stop talking about them. I feel like it's an endless wealth of videos to talk about, with comparing them, with saying they're decent or not, things like that. Today I'm going to do one that if you like this popular TikTok book, you will probably like this one as well. I need to feature some books that I think don't get enough love, in my opinion, that could be comparable to the very popular TikTok books, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? We're just gonna go with that. I've done these videos before that if you like this book, you might like this. This is basically the same, just we're taking popular book talk books and giving you another book that is comparable, you know, to that book. We're gonna go with Beach Read by Emily Henry, which is one of my favorites. I love Emily Henry. I've loved every one of her books. Beach Read is her first one. But this is a very popular book talk book. All of Emily Henry's books are. But if you love this popular book talk book, chances are I think you'll really love The Roughest Draft by Emily Wibberley and Austin C. Mabroka. Now, they are previously known for writing YA contemporary, and they still do, but this is their first ever move to adult romance. And it's still my favorite. They've released 3 adult romances, and I haven't liked the last 2, loved this one. So this one is about Katrina and Nathan, who are both authors, and they met in college and they connected. They just started writing together, and what do you know, they wrote this amazing book that became a bestseller and everything like that. But of course, when that happened, their relationship faltered. They had a big falling out. They don't talk to each other anymore. Now it's many years later, and their company's like, hey, you still have a book on your contract left with each other, so you either gonna pay us a lot of money or you gonna go write that book. And so they're like, crap. And so they go back to where they rented out this house in Florida for their first ever book to write their last book together. And so a lot of feelings come out because they haven't talked to each other for a while, maybe some romance. This is like, I tell you what, if you don't love miscommunication, which I don't either, this might not be the book for you because they are full. It's like just basically like, the whole time you're reading this, you're screaming, just say actually what you feel and actually what you mean and stop beating around the bush. That's this whole book. They just skirt conversations repeatedly and then finally they get to it. But man, the yearning is next level in this book. I loved it. You get to see the writing process, much like Beach Read was, because this was also about 2 authors. See how I'm doing that? The parallels. This one I don't feel like I hear anybody talk about on Book Talk. So if you love Beach Read, I think you'll really love The Roughest Draft. I thoroughly loved it. Next up, we're gonna go with Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Another one that I love, and I did fall for the hype for it. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people love it. I love it. I don't know. House of the Dragon makes me get hyped up for it. Makes me want to reread it again. Am I alone? I don't know. But either way, if you love this very popular book talk book about dragons and things like that, I think you really enjoy The Serpent in the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. I have seen this on Book Talk, so it's not completely underrated, but do I see it nearly enough as Fourth Wing? No. Are they super close in plots and stuff? No, not a ton. Fourth Wing is all about dragons and the trials and tribulations. This one is more about vampires and the trials and tribulation. This book follows a character named Oriah, who is the human-born adopted daughter of the vampire king. And basically there's this competition that arises like every thousands of years full of vampires, and whoever wins gets a wish granted, and Oriah is competing in it. So they both have kind of the Hunger Games divergent aspect to them, which is why I think they're similar. But man, I will say, I do think I like this one more than Fourth Wing. That might just be me. I like the romance in it. It is steamy as well. It's vampires. So in case, you know, this, if you want a dragon fix, but I know there's not like a ton of dragon books out there, I do think this is comparable to that. I loved it. It's like a romantasy that I love and adore and would highly recommend. So if you like this, I think you'll like this. Next up, we have the very, very popular Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This is all about figure skating and ice hockey. And the book, of course, I'm going to say, if you like Icebreaker, you'll probably like this. It's from Luke Off with Love by Mariana Zapata. I read this recently, loved it. It's not one of my favorites by her, but I still enjoyed it. So this one, you guessed it, is about figure skating. So this book follows Jasmine, who is a figure skater, and she is down on her luck. She's not really connecting with anybody. She's usually in pairs. And then finally, Ivan Lukoff decides that he would like her as her partner. The only problem is they hate each other. They've hated each other for years. They've known each other for years. And so the whole book is about them working together to get to the Olympics and things like that, and training and winning medals and all that kind of stuff. And it's a very slow burn, hate to love kind of romance. So these two are parallel in the fact that they are both kind of ice skating. This one really does. If you were like, Icebreaker was really good, but I wanted to delve more into the figure skating world, From Luke Off of Love is here for you. You get to see them train, injuries, all those many things. It goes into depth because, as you can see, this book is hellaciously long. Like, I think it's the longest book I've read this year, coming in like 530 pages for a romance. That's insanity. But either way, ice skating, ice skating. Here you go. Next up, I think if you really enjoyed the popular It Happened One Summer, which is an enemies to lover beachy read, I think you'll really enjoy The Catch by Amy Lee. This one came out this year. I read it and really enjoyed it. Both are very similar with the hate to love, small seaside town. They both have kind of like fishing on the cover. I enjoy them both, honestly. So The Catch follows Melanie and Evan, and basically she's an influencer. She gets into this small town, goes to this B&B where Evan's in charge of. They don't like each other. Long story short, Evan gets into like an accident, like a boating accident, and he falls unconscious. And so he gets to the hospital, and Melanie's the only one there with him, and they're like, only family. And she's like, I'm his fiance, just to get in there to help, you know, so he's not alone, which I understand and respect. And then his family comes in, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're engaged? You never told us that. And of course, Evan wakes up, and he's like, what the hell? But they decide to keep on with the charade because it's bringing peace to his family that has been very much tumultuous relationship. So that's a long story short. But either way, they both are enemies to lovers. Either way, seaside town, hate to love, steamy. If you like this, you'll like this. Moving on to one Booktok book I'm gonna talk about that I really don't love, but we're just gonna do. From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout, a vampire novel that gets a lot of hype for reasons I will never understand. Anyway, you want, dare I say, better vampire novel? Bride by Elliot Hazelwood is there for you and will do you no wrong. Yes, both of these are Booktok popular, but you know what? We're just gonna do it anyway. Maybe somebody will never heard of Bride. Maybe someone will never heard of Blood and Ash. There you go. Either way, Bride is about two characters, Lo and Misery. Misery is a vampire assigned to marry Lo, who is a werewolf pack leader, to kind of have an alliance, things like that. And of course, she has to go live in werewolf territory. Things happen. I loved it, adored it. If you love kind of the alpha fan fiction type of thing, I think you would like this one. I think it's a great vampire one. So if you liked, or maybe didn't like From Blood and Ash and want something that's better, Bride is there for you. Moving on, if you loved the very, very popular, like probably one of the OG Booktok romance books, Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score, which I have read, didn't really love. If you want something similar to that, the Love Light Farm series by B.K. Borison is here for you and will steer you no wrong. So the things we got... The Things We Never Got Over is a series. I want to say there's like 3 books. I don't know. Will I read the whole series? No. It very much has the same setting of small town, steamy times, and Love Light Farms is just that for you. Farms is one of my favorite small town like romance series. Love Light Farms is a Christmassy one, so I would save this for Christmas, but it's friends to lovers, amazing. In the Weeds is about like an influencer and a farmhand like falling in love. I have yet to read this one, don't judge me. Then we have Mixed Signals, who is about the baker in Love Light Farms and another guy falling in love, super cute. And Business Casual just came out. It's about 2 other characters that were, they're just all intermingling characters in this very small town, and it is just adorable. And I feel like when I hear about this series, I hear mostly about Love Light Farms, but I don't hear about Mixed Signals or In the Weeds or Business Casual that much, but they are amazing. If you want a book that's very similar to like Stars Hollow, Phone Tree, small town vibes, this series is the one for you. So I know Things We Never Got Over is kind of the same with the small town thing, but I dare say this one's better and would highly recommend it. Moving on to a different genre, we have First Line Wins by Ashley Elston. This is a thriller novel all about kind of like Alias, if you will. It's a character that has many aliases, things like that. So it's kind of like a fun mystery thriller. For that one, I would say, if you like this one, you should definitely check out It Had to Be You by Elijah Jane Brashear. I just finished this one. It's basically a steamy Mr. and Mrs. Smith where 2 assassins hook up. They don't know know, each of them are assassins, and they both get jobs to off each other. And so they are pretty much spending the whole novel like, should we get together or should we murder each other? Should we get together or should we off each other? You know, it's got a lot of steamy times involved. It's just a fun time, much like First Line Wins. If you don't want a lot of like thinking, I guess you can say, going involving your thrillers, you just want to have a good, like, twisty, turny time, I would recommend both of these. Like, if you love this one, I could think you'll probably like this one as well. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this one, but I adored it. Minus the steamy times. I don't think that was really necessary to the plot. But that might just be me. Last comparison, I will say that if you like this, you'll like this. I have the Chestnut Spring series. Please forgive me, I'm missing two in this book, the first one and the last one, by Elsie Silver. If you like the Chestnut Spring series, I think you really like Done and Dusted series, or I don't know what this series is called. I forget exactly, by Lila Sage. They are both comparable to the effect that they are all both small towns. You guessed it. Do I have a type? Yes, I have a type. They're both kind of cowboy western ones. So heartless, powerless, reckless, flawless. I forget what the last one's called that I still need to read, are all set in small towns, all have that cowboy vibes. This one has the same. This one has a sequel, which I still need to read, called Swift and Saddled, and the third one is coming out later this year. Then I might just skip this one because I'm not super excited about it, but I will say the covers for this one's AA+. Cowboy, love, western, romance, they're here for you, and I liked them. Are they amazing? No, but I would compare them to the Chestnut Spring, oh poop. I would compare them to the Chestnut Spring series. So there you have some Booktok books of, if you like this Booktok book, I think you'll like this book. Maybe you'll agree with me on these choices, maybe not. I would love to know if you have any other ideas, like if you like this book, you'll like this book. I love doing that because it's always interesting, because I'm always, when I finish a book I love, I'm like, what other books are kind of like that? Because I want to read them, if you get what I'm saying. So if you like this, let me know. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.